Hi, happy Tuesday, everybody. Another installment of Rebecca Babcock coaching, talking for clients as opposed to just me telling you the kind of experiences that I provide. It's much better to let you hear it for yourself. So for those that are joining for the first time, my name is Rebecca Babcock. I'm the founder of Rebecca Babcock Coaching and the creator of the Babcock Method. I have a pretty unique approach towards coaching. I am certified as a career transition coach and an executive leadership coach and a life coach and a trauma-informed coach. And I have a team of 9 other coaches who work with me. Not every client works with every coach. And I offer a truly customized, holistic, and guaranteed coaching experience that goes beyond the base level of I need a new job or I want to fix my resume or my boss is giving me a hard time. It really gets into that deeper level of who am I? What do I want out of my life? What is the direction that I'm on? Does it make sense? Without saying, just go get in a van and just live that van life, to really create an experience that allows you to maintain your life, not blow it up. But for those that kind of feel stuck or lost or meh, and they almost feel guilty even mentioning it because, compared to many others, they have an amazing life and they do. But that feeling of this isn't it. I thought once I got married and once I got the job and once I got the house and the kids and this and that and the white picket fence and the promotion that I would feel a certain way, and I don't. And I built this because that's how I felt. A little bit different for me, but I climbed that corporate ladder and I got the jobs. And then what happened for me was in my early 30s, I got divorced. Then I quit drinking. And then I had 5 massive surgeries to rebuild my digestive tract after having my colon removed. And I looked at my life and I said, what's this all for? What's my plan? I know what I'm running from, but I don't really know what I want. I don't know what my strategy is. And so I went out looking for a coach to help me create that plan. And they didn't exist. So I created it. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to someone who's lived that journey of what we've created and the holistic approach towards it. His name is Patrick Queally. He's a mortgage expert. He's an author. He's a dad. He's a husband who found himself asking, am I even supposed to be doing this job anymore? Is this my calling, or is this just what I'm supposed to be doing? And what happened next is really his journey and his explanation, but it's something a lot of people I know will relate to. So welcome, Patrick, one of my favorite, I should say that, one of my favorite clients, one of my most inspiring clients. Thank you for being here.
You can translate that and say honestly, one of your most difficult clients. That's fine.
No.
But no, I was actually surprised. You mentioned the van life. I didn't know that was an option. This may have turned out really differently if I knew about that up front, but cool.
Bye, family. I'll be in the van driving around the country. Yeah. See you another time. Good luck. So Patrick, can you start by sharing a little bit about where professionally, maybe personally, you were when we first met?
Yeah, sure. So I have been in the mortgage industry since 1993, so a long time. So we're not going to relive that whole history, but sort of fast forward to more recent times, sort of pre-pandemic, during pandemic, and post-pandemic. So during the pandemic, my business was booming, and
right.
It was one of the few industries that really thrived, and really just due to the low interest rates that existed at that time. And it was just a boom. It was boom times. It was an embarrassment of riches. I mean, we were just working crazy hours, and for what it was, it was good. Okay. It was good because of financial motivations. It was great to be able to have that much work and be able to help a lot of people with their financial needs. But when inflationary pressures started to just rock the market, okay, so not a political statement, but it's a fact, just a ton of money being printed during the pandemic. Eventually that's going to shake out in the economy, and boy, did it ever.
Right.
So we went from one extreme to the other in the mortgage business, from absolute booming times to like nothing. It's not even like someone slowed down the trickle. It's like someone entirely turned the hose off
and took the hose to another town. Like
Oh,
there wasn't even available.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The exact opposite, the pendulum swung so far in the opposite direction. A lot of people in the mortgage business had difficulty dealing with that. And even though I'd been in the business, 30 years, it still was quite, an adjustment. And some various circumstances led me to make a change.
Mhm.
So I decided to leave the company I'd been with for about 5 or 6 years and joined a different company. And it didn't take me very long to figure out that it was just a bad, bad culture fit. It was just the wrong place for me to be. And sort of, that saying, you shouldn't be ashamed to admit that you walked into the wrong door rather
Mm.
than spend, a lifetime in the wrong room.
Oh.
Well, I was sort of persistent and wanted to make it work. Now, my wife will call it stubborn. I prefer persistent. I wanted to try and make it work. I wanted to try and force it to work and have success with the new firm that I had joined, but it just wasn't happening. So the grind went from an overwhelming amount of business, work through as many transactions as you can, help as many people as you can, to a grind of just trying to scrape up and find any business anywhere to keep the lights on. And I thought the answer was really just, working harder. So I come from a blue collar family. Okay. All my family's in the trades. And if something's not working well, you just hit it with a bigger hammer and you keep going at it until it does work. And so putting in the extra hours, trying to figure out different ways to sort of attack the business from different angles, it just led me to extreme burnout, to the point where I didn't even know if I wanted to do this anymore. And
Right.
it's kind of funny because I used to joke and say, well, I've been doing this so long, 30 years in the business, I'm just not qualified to do anything else, even if I wanted to. And then I got left thinking, well, I sort of want to do something else. And what the hell am I qualified to do other than, the mortgage industry? So I met you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Really.
so what part in this journey do I come into
Yeah.
play?
So enter the wonderful Rebecca Babcock into the story. um, and I met you looking for a career transition coach. I thought that burnt out in the mortgage industry, it just wasn't for me anymore. I gave it 30 years of my life, and it gave a lot back to me too. Really a rewarding career, but I thought, just it's over, it's done. I'm just burnt out.
Mhm.
And uh, met with you, did your sort of intake to see if we're a good fit to work together, because not everybody's a good fit to work with
With
one
me.
another. Yeah. So somehow I just barely squeaked by and made the cut. And took all the personality and skill assessments, and work with a fantastic cast of coaches that you have here, and really sort of put together a fantastic resume to help try and transition out of this business. But I was really stuck in sort of I guess, a unique kind of catch-22, where I had over 30 years worth of business experience, but all that business experience was within one industry. Sure, some skills and things are going to translate out of that, but how do you sort of make a lateral move? And it wasn't it just wasn't syncing up. It just wasn't catching for me.
Well,
Um,
can I say one thing really quickly? May I?
Absolutely, yeah.
So there's some things, Patrick is incredibly humble. There's some other things that he's not really bringing into account, which I'm sure he will in a minute. But Patrick never stopped loving being a mortgage broker. And for him, what he loved, what his point of differentiation is that he'll sit at the table with you. He said it to me so many times, and just figure it out until they make it work so people could buy. He loves working specifically with immigrants. His family is Irish, and really sit and help people purchase their first home. And where he found himself, where he thought it was the burnout, was that people didn't care in that moment. Whoever could get in the cheapest was the person that was chosen, not the person who cared, not the person. And so Patrick's also a natural caregiver. He also is a very, very creative person. So on the side, he had this like incredibly impressive social media presence that wasn't really, so we started out kind of pounding out, let's just get you in front of the right people. Let's get you in front of the right people and you can keep doing it. And then just the exhaustion of constantly keeping going and not getting any, it wasn't like I'm not making the kind of money it was like nothing really, I think, took us to the next turning point where it became as much about mindset as it did about career.
Absolutely. So, kind of spoiler alert for a lot of people here, if you're struggling and you can't work out the problem, you can't find a solution, the bad news is that the problem probably isn't external. The problem's you. Now, that's the bad news. But here's the good news. You might be the problem, but you're also the solution. You just need to dig deep to uncover that solution within yourself. So as my story unfolded, it was happening, before I met Rebecca, but it started to build through that, through that timeline. The stress that I was feeling, the financial pressure was showing up in manifesting in physical ways. I had gained a lot of weight. I was getting little to no sleep. It was coffee all day to stay alert and alcohol at night to wind down and try and blow off some steam and relax. It seems like I always either had a cup of coffee or a beer in my hand. One or the other. Okay.
I love the barbecue. So sometimes he was also doing some
grill. Yeah, for sure. So I just mentally and physically I just felt like crap all the time. Yeah. And looking back on it now is obviously just an unhealthy cycle, just not sustainable to keep going with a foot on the gas 100% of the time, all the time. And to make things kind of more complicated, I'm a diabetic, type 1.5 diabetic. So that's sort of adult onset of type 1 diabetes is really the easiest way to explain it. So, not the worst condition in the world to have, but obviously can, that's sort of a baseline and can create other complications if you're not taking care of yourself. Mm-hmm. So, I have regular blood tests to monitor my diabetic condition, and just feeling so crappy. I asked my doctor, can we just run like a full panel? Can we do everything just to rule out if there's any sort of medical things going on? I mean, cortisol, testosterone. Right. I mean, yep. You name it, I just all of the tests, and just to see, is there something that is building up behind the scenes that's not immediately being presented, but all of the pieces add up to a specific, diagnosis. So, is it something more sinister that's behind the scenes that we're just not looking at?
Cancer? Is that why? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. You sort of think the worst.
So sick. I feel so sick. There must be something seriously wrong with me.
Yeah. So I look to medical reasons, and I wish there was, a medical answer that there was, you have X, Y, and Z. It just would have been so much easier to have just a medical diagnosis and take this pill or do this, yep. Whatever, have the surgery and you'll be better. So at the same time, I was seeking these medical answers. I was not believing Rebecca. Okay. I was not believing that some mindset work, some mindset shifts could really help the physical symptoms. And I was just so focused on getting a new career, a new job. I had to pay the bills. I was meeting with Rebecca to get career transition help. Okay. And when we talked about mindset and goals, that part of the conversation, I said, finally, okay, great. Get some action plans here, some execute. Let's take action. Let's go. Let's get it done. Great. It's what I need. Now, if you had told me in the beginning that the plan would involve meditation and journaling and breath work, it would have been a hard pass for me. Look, no tree hugging, hippie, new age crap. I'm not going to sit around the campfire and sing Kumbaya.
Right.
Hard pass, not me.
That's going to be a
Okay.
hard no. And by the way, I was the same way 10 years earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a
for you guys, but I'm busy trying to make money here. I don't have time to be
exactly.
introspective.
Oh,
Let's
I don't have
go.
time to meditate. I don't have a woo-woo bone or thought in my body. No, 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 no. Now, and to this day, I'll still tell you that sort of that mindset work, meditation and journaling is all BS until it's not.
Bum, bum, bum. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you can guess, I'm a little bit more practical. I needed to have sort of, I guess, the scientific studies, the empirical evidence that this is real before I could invest and devote some time to it. So kudos to you, Rebecca, and to your coaches, specifically one of your coaches, Andrew. He saw my reluctance to the whole sort of mindset piece of it. And he offered some advice from a more practical standpoint, cited the medical journals and the studies and the tests and the real, evidence, scientific evidence that the benefits of this woo-woo stuff is real and it's measurable. So before I even get to all the business results, sort of personal, what it's done for me, my
like
mental
tell us
and
how you're
physical
feeling
state.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
physically,
So,
mentally, emotionally.
so definitely not, a clinical diagnosis of depression, but I certainly felt depressed, anxious, stress, all tied up with financial and work issues. But I invested more time in me based on, well, politely demands from you and Andrew that this is what needs to happen. So I started to feel better. I started to think clearer, which led me to eat better, less coffee, less alcohol. Now the diet's important again, because I'm a diabetic. So that helps. My A1C measurements. So people that don't know, A1C is essentially a quarterly measurement of what your blood sugar rating is. It's one of the defining measurements for a diabetic. It's sort of an average of what your blood sugar is. My A1C numbers came back better than ever. I was thinking better. I was feeling better. I was eating better, which led me to think better and to feel better. The practical, tangible numbers and the results. Okay. So I'm down as of this morning, just a hair over 30 pounds from when I was at my heaviest.
Boom.
My A1C numbers are the best that they've been since 20 years ago when I was diagnosed as a diabetic.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And it's not just sort of one pinpoint in time. This is sort of a consistent, it's been getting better and it's the best that it's been in 20 years. So the good news is I'm spiraling, but I'm spiraling up, improving, not spiraling down anymore. We talk a lot about the catabolic energy and anabolic energy, catabolic being, negative and sort of the woe is me. And this is all happening, to me and the world's out to get me. And
cortisol, adrenaline, all of that sort of running from a saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah. So all that has been fading away. And listen, it's never going to be 100% gone. That's sort of the ideal, perfect lifestyle, but it's not real. We can, there's no, in the journey, there is no there to get to. You're never going to get there. It's not a destination. It's a journey. So I'm throwing out all the cliches at you, but it really is. It's a journey and just steady, constant improvements to get better and to feel better. So for all of that to come together for me, all this, the woo-woo practice really put together a solid morning routine and an evening routine. And the evening routine is even more important because a good morning routine starts the night before.
Yeah.
So I'm up early, have a good breakfast, walk the dogs, meditate and journal and read. I do more work on myself before 7 a.m. now than I would have in a month or 2 months previously.
I just want to pause on that for a second. This man came to me because he needed a new job. Now, spoiler alert, he fell back in love with what he did. And we'll get to that in a minute.
Yep.
But I just want to pause for a second because I want to celebrate you. And it's really important to me that I celebrate you in the sense that even for Patrick to sit here and say, it wasn't diagnosed as clinical, but I felt depressed. Like, this is a man who was not really encouraged to talk about his feelings, head down, power through, get it going. Look, your life is so much better than your parents were, the generation before. And you have so much to be grateful for. You have so much to do. You need to support your family. You need to do everything for them. There was really it would have been self-indulgent and to borderline selfish to be like, I think maybe I'm depressed. Like, no one cares if you're depressed or not. Get to work and make more money. There's bills that need to be paid. And so a lot of what Patrick is talking about is, as his coach, we were giving him strategic career-based things to do. And it was like, I thought he was going to kill me, slamming up against a wall. And every time I would say, I really think we need to work on your mindset. We really need to work on how are you talking to yourself? How much are you taking care of yourself? How much are you caring for others versus yourself? And it was like, la, until he had his own like second bottom within the bottom of like, I need money, became like, I can't emotionally, mentally, medically, physically do this anymore. And we all have some sort of a bottom like that we say, and our bottom is only as low as we continue to keep digging. So he got sick and tired enough of being sick and tired. And what came first was not making more money. What came first was the recognition that even though I am strong and tough and awesome and all of these things, I'm not filling up my well and there's no water to give to other people. And remember, Patrick really got into this industry because he really, really wants to help people. If he could have been a plumber, he would have been a plumber like his dad, but this is his skill set. He's got some brains and some knowledge to do that. And it really was a long journey. I mean, not really, but it wasn't like this was overnight. I mean, this took a while to want for himself to pay attention. And we do have a health and wellness coach and we do have meditation and all these things. And Patrick struggled for a good long time. It was hard. And in fact, I think when he finished his traditional coaching with me, I'm pretty sure he was like, well, you changed my life. I'm not sure if it's for the better, but you changed it because gosh darn it, I see things differently now. And then he started showing up also for the mastermind, the continue. And we as a community, and there's people commenting right now that have been there and held space when Patrick was like, guys, it's not working for me. I see that it's working for you guys, but it's not working for me. And then it started working. And so the courage that you have had to bring this and share it with others has made you such a poster child of what can be accomplished when you become honest and vulnerable and real and say there's nothing brave about saying, I got this when you don't got this. And so then the career shift, and we want to hear all about that, but I just want to give you some really, really hard-earned credit for doing what not many middle-aged men are doing that aren't woo-woo and that are just trying to make enough money to pay the, not just making, but like hard-working, church-going guys aren't like, I think I need to meditate and journal and have a morning routine.
Yeah. So, in our individual sessions and in the group sessions, the idea of the hero's journey or the hero's arc comes into it. And what we've come to find out is that the level of difficulty someone faces creates the strength of the hero that's going to come through it. Now, I'm not trying to put myself out there as being a hero. That's not, I'm still on my journey, but that's sort of the story arc that's there. So all the mindset work made it a little bit easier, still difficult, but a little bit easier to reach out and ask for help. Okay. And again, as a self-sufficient, I don't know, maybe it's a male chauvinist sort of whatever concept that I got this and I'm just going to work through it and I'll figure it out, to sort of to have, I guess, the humble ask for, hey, things aren't going well. I need some help. And I reached out to a number of people within my network. Now, I'll be honest with you. Some of the people that I talked to and I reached out to really, really disappointed me. And it's, hey, man, sorry you're going through that. That sucks. Good luck. Click. I'm like, okay. And, if the tables were reversed and And oftentimes they were, those are people that I had helped out with things. And it stung and it hurt. Now, that being said, that wasn't the response I got from everybody. There were a number of people, and some of them I didn't even I expected them to sort of hang up on me, and I figured, I had nothing to lose now. I might as well,
Right.
make the calls. And those people actually surprised me in a good way, that they spent time with me, met me one-on-one. Hey, let me take a look at your resume too. Here, I'll circulate your resume, and one contact that I've had, that I've known for a long time, I consider him a personal and a professional friend. Talked to him a number of times, and he was able to reintroduce me to a mutual acquaintance of ours. And this mutual acquaintance was about to start something a little bit new, a little bit different in the real estate and mortgage space. See, he owns a private and hard money lending company. So commercial lending, think of like the fix and flip, like the guys that buy a dilapidated house, rehab it, and put it back on the market. So he provides the funding for those investors and developers to do that. He had a pain point in the sense that some of his clientele that rehab the houses intended on holding on to those properties for rental income, and he just didn't have the facility to provide long-term financing. His business was short-term financing. So he wanted to open up a sort of a sister company, if you will, or another division to handle the long-term financing for those investors. So he was looking for someone
with a lot of experience.
Exactly. Who had the residential sales as well as operations experience, but also someone that understood the construction and private and hard money, side of the business, which is really different. But it's kind of tough to all find in one package unless you're looking at me. I've done all of that, So,
it wasn't about changing industries. It was about returning to it differently.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the really, really crazy, and I still find this absolutely bonkers. Okay. You have an excellent coach in your team, Clay, and he's not bonkers, just the whole situation. Clay's excellent. Here's, how he does what he does just still blows me away. He uses a mind map system. Now, I'm sure everybody knows what a mind map is, but you've never seen it the way Clay does it. Okay? When he connects the dots, I'm still blown away by it. Anyway, so we had several sort of mind mapping sessions as part of, the affiliation with you, Rebecca. So Clay and I had several mind mapping sessions, and at the end of it, he put together sort of this 4-quadrant sort of map. Now, keep in mind, again, I was looking to leave the mortgage industry, and I was working with you and with Clay initially. And without defining what industry it would be in, he put this sort of 4-quadrant map together based on who I am as a person, what my business interests are, what my personal interests are, my skill sets, what type of a role, regardless of industry, what type of a role would I be best suited for to keep me happy, but also to deliver value to the company that I'm working at. And it still blows me away. The mind map he did, the 4-quadrant, is essentially my current job description. It gives me no. I have trouble verbalizing how just crazy of a match it is. It's scary accurate.
So if it weren't just crazy and scary accurate, what else would be true about that? What's happened in your life that made that quadrant make sense?
Well, I think I needed a reset. I needed a reboot. I needed Patrick 2.0 to come back to really enjoy doing what I was doing, and being able to do the things in the back office, the systems and the organization and the detail and the procedures, but also mixed with the creative of some of the marketing and some of the social media things that I do.
You all
and
follow
and
him on LinkedIn and Facebook, and we'll put all of your contact info later.
yeah, almost. So again, it plays well in the Boston market, but it's wickedawesomeloanofficer.com. So that's, you'll be able to follow me from everywhere right there. But to have the back office and sort of structure, combine that with sort of the creative and the marketing, and do that both in residential and commercial real estate, all packaged together in one job, is bizarrely unique for me. Because that's exactly what I enjoy doing. All of that,
So it's possible that you learned how to articulate what you actually want and what you're good at in a way that allowed you to then understand what the right next role could be for you, because you're in the driver's seat now. You said, here are my skills, here are my strengths, here are my passions, here's what I really want personally and professionally. I want to help others. That's important to me. It's not just about making money. And I know that when we get clear about what we want, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, because we know how to articulate. And if you get networking with somebody and it's not what you're looking for, thank you so much. That's good. But yes, the universe paid you back because you gave a lot out. I mean, you gave a lot to us. You gave a lot to the community within this coaching world that we live in. You really showed up. You played all out. You gave it your all. And then the universe said, I think he's done his time. I think we're ready now.
Yeah.
And I hope that you're making billions of dollars now, and I can't wait to get my side check. But I think
we're on the way. We're on the way.
The point is more whether this next role works out or not, which it will forever, but you'll never find yourself. You know that for you, part of your prescription is hitting up that mindset stuff, or you will burn out again, even in this, because it's so much work and there's so many expectations and you're running an entire business. So I almost look at you as sort of like the reluctant. I mean, Andrew, the meditation coach, would laugh. I was forced to go see Andrew because I was so anti-woo-woo. So the fact that I am now, the gateway into the woo-woo world is sort of, it's perfect, right? So
yeah, you can definitely put me out there as the poster boy of the woo-woo for the non-believers.
I mean, he suggested a meditation app coach, I guess, yogi, to me, because I was struggling with my meditation. He's like, well, here's what I'm using.
So I'm so far along the journey now that I've actually found different types of meditation that I like and don't like as much. So went from that's a load of hippie horse crap, I'm not sitting and doing meditation, to I found some particular practitioners for guided meditation that I prefer to sit and listen to. So I'll throw it out too. Again, kudos to Andrew. Insight Timer is the name of the meditation app that I have on my phone, and that's, again, it's something I'm doing not just every day, Rebecca, usually twice a day. Okay, so it went from there's no way in hell I can find 5 minutes to do this to typically 20, 25 minutes a day.
Yeah, I'm choosing to. So first of all, I just appreciate you being here and sharing, and now we're at the place where we get to celebrate and it's all good news, but you were also showing up and sharing when it didn't look like that. And that's important for everybody to hear. And other people that I've had on here and we've talked to have changed careers, and they decided it's so important to hear from somebody who was in it and was literally like, I don't know if I can stay in my home, who held on, worked hard, but changed the direction of the just grind harder at finding a client into, I need to fix the way my mind works. And you said this earlier, and I just want to repeat it. You said, when I feel better, I think better. When I think better, I feel better. And that sort of, and then do you think all of a sudden you started networking with people and this job came along? No, you were actually in a place where you were willing to hear what people were saying in a different way that maybe earlier you would have been like, well, that's not the kind of job that I've done in the past. And, well, if they're building it right now, when does payment start? That kind of a thing that would have held you back from really being present for it. So transformation doesn't happen overnight. And there were some hard times in there. And I'd like to think that we were there with you, for the hard times as well as the good
Oh,
times. But
absolutely, 100%. And again, the one-on-one sessions, fantastic, but the community that you've built of the number of clients that you've worked with and the mastermind sessions that we get to be a part of, where I'm not there yet. I don't think there is a there, but
I'm not
maybe I've made it a little bit further along the journey than some other people. And there are people that have made it even further than I have. And there are people that are sort of just starting out. But the masterminds are, we'll say, a group coaching session where we're all there to support and help each other. And I find tremendous value in that, in community, where I can be coached through a difficulty, but maybe I can throw my 2 cents in and coach someone else through something they're going through that I've faced previously. So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
You get what you give.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it's interesting because even before this conversation, I think I would have said that, but I'm not sure. What would you say was your takeaway? Your big sort of aha shift change in the work that we've done together.
So the woo-woo, the mindset stuff, it's real. It helps. It helps.
And it's free.
Exactly. And that's
Right?
that's the even crazier thing about it. And again, being very practical, from a business sense, being very practical, looking at sort of the medical journals and the clinical research of, well, yeah, it's not just me sort of anecdotally experiencing something better or some sort of placebo that if I do this I should feel better. No, it's real, and that alone is the foundation to help me succeed in much higher capacities in my current role,
And as a
and in
husband,
other things.
father. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just in a business sense. So I actually had an associate, a friend, someone I know in the business, mentioned to me that, wow, you seem kind of different. What's going on? Well, I said, yeah, this is Patrick 2.0, the Zen Patrick edition. It's just much more calm and relaxed. And sure, we're all going to face business challenges, but there are ways to get through it without trying to smash it with a bigger hammer. There are ways to get through.
And I always say, if it rains out, you're still going to get wet. It's just more likely that you'll bring an umbrella this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for, in your busy new job, giving us this time. Anything else? So I will share the link to your website. I will give information about Clay and Insight Timer. I'll put all those in. And anything else before we end that you would like to close and share with people that are listening now or later?
Yeah, again, it's, the mindset work is real. It is the foundation to make everything better, business-wise and personal-wise. As the guy who walked in and said, I ain't singing Kumbaya sitting around the campfire, to really believing it and practicing it every day. Listen, if I can do it, anybody can. Okay. And Rebecca and her team of coaches, fantastic. There's just no way I would have gone down that path without you politely and professionally demanding that I do it, because you had my best interest in heart. And I know that, and I feel that, and I believe it. And so does the rest of the community. So, anybody else that is watching this today live or in the future, you're feeling stuck, something's not quite right, you think you need to change something. Well, it may not be something on the outside, it may be something on the inside. And the best first step to take that, to take towards addressing that issue, is to get in touch with Rebecca. and see if she can be that catalyst to help you get the change that you need to have.
And it doesn't have to be me, but I
Oh,
think
yes, it does. Yes, it does.
ask for help. Ask for help. It's okay to say, I don't got this, to somebody that feels safe to say that to. So thank you again. If you're watching this and you're feeling stuck or lost and you can't go live that van life and you don't know what to do, but you have very little margin of what you can change, let's talk. One of the things that we're learning today is that it's not always the outside. Sometimes it's the inside. Actually, let me be honest. It's always the inside.
Yeah.
And then the inside affects the outside. So thank you, Patrick. Keep helping out people getting their homes. Keep healthy. Keep grilling. You are just such a light to this group and such a wonderful addition. And I know that just sharing this today has already helped a lot of people that think, well, I'm a man who can't admit that there could be a problem. And
yeah, well, that's the first problem.
well, it's the first solution too.
Yeah.
Thank you again so much. We are so grateful to have you, and I'll put all these notes in the comment section.
Fantastic. Thanks,
Bye,
Rebecca.
everyone.
Bye.